What's going on, 12-2 Nation? We're back here again with another group Zoom call, and tonight we have a special guest on here, Kyan Lodice, one of my good friends from high school, known him for years now, and just gotten to watch him and his athletic journey kind of take off from competing in high school for state championships at the highest level at Millard West, now to going on playing at Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas, and his story is just one of just resilience, of passion, of just push through, continuing to get up time and time again when things are tough and difficult. And so excited to just have him on tonight to just continue to talk about this topic of passion and also dive deep into his story. And so I'm gonna give him the floor, and I'll do a little intro to for of himself, and then he's gonna talk about just his journey a little bit.
Hey guys, I'm Kyan. Grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. Me and Joe met early years of high school and became a huge fan of his and how he took on just leadership, not only in our friend group, but on the field as well. And it's been good to connect with him over the years and have these ongoing conversations kind of about this whole mental side of sports. And I relate to that as well, extremely relate to that as well. I think it's one of the biggest advantages that one athlete can take to improve their game. And so I just want to say thanks for having me on tonight. We're going to be diving a little bit deeper into passion. And it's like Joe said, I've had a huge kind of passion spark when it's came to baseball specifically. I mean, I love all sports, but baseball has really stuck out to me from a passion standpoint. So, kind of a little bit about me and my background. Um, like I said, I grew up in Omaha, started competitive sports, baseball and basketball at a very young age. Ended up sticking out with baseball. That's the one sport that kind of stood out to me. And grew up playing baseball, traveling the country at a very high level. Once I got to high school, it's kind of an eye-opening experience to know all these kids are bigger than you, stronger than you. It's a whole different world. I know we're in Nebraska, and most of you guys are probably in Nebraska as well. So it's not like you're going and playing these teams from Texas or Florida in high school, but there's still some guys that are going to stand out to you when you get to high school in Nebraska. And I would say that was my first eye-opening experience. And I had a very successful kind of first 2 years, couple years in high school. Won a state championship my sophomore year of high school, first state championship in baseball Millard West has ever had. So that was kind of my first huge accomplishment to be a part of that. Um, did it with a bunch of great people beside me as well. And then right after COVID hit the year after, I didn't really know what injuries were, didn't know what they were like to me as a person mentally and physically. Um, I had a stress fracture in my back, got diagnosed with that year or the year my senior year, just a couple months before the season started. And that was a major setback for me. And I thought it would just kind of wear off over time, but it continued to get worse. So I was out for the first half or a little bit more than half of the season. And I was kind of in a dark place because I just come off winning a state championship the last year because COVID was in between. We didn't get to play. And with that coming through the back of my mind with COVID too, it was just I felt like all things were ending, and my passion for baseball was kind of getting destroyed in a way. It was tough, but once I learned what the rehab process was like, um, and once I got to swinging again with no pain, I grabbed the bat again, and I'm like, wow, like all the memories are starting to come back, and all of like the childhood stuff of playing and being like that guy in high school and moving on, that started to go through my mind again. So there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and that was just my beginning of kind of some setbacks that I would experience later on. So I ended up finishing the senior year well and healthy. And then I got to college, play here at Kansas State now, and freshman year got in there after I played some summer ball up in the Northeast in Connecticut. Ended up having to leave halfway through. halfway through that summer season, dealing with a lot of sicknesses. Doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't get out of my bed for about a month. I ended up having some really bad anxiety issues, and that was kind of another that was probably my biggest setback I've had to this day. Um, it was hard for me to overcome that because I didn't really understand what that was. And I think it was a blessing in disguise for how I train myself mentally now, not only in sports and baseball, but even in school or attacking every single day. Training your mind has been a huge thing for me. It sets me up for success in the best way possible. I know you guys have probably talked about some mental things and mental training, but I wanted to touch on that a little bit too in my background because I know that's played a huge part in my everyday life. So once I finally got that figured out, got to college, still dealt with some of those issues, and I had some lingering injuries, some wrist injuries, and my back was starting to bug me again. So I ended up redshirting my freshman year of college just to kind of get adjusted to a new lifestyle, even though it wasn't too far away from home. Had some health issues that I needed to take care of. And I lost my passion again because there were so many things going in my head. I just didn't know if it was for me or not. Um, but I'm glad I stuck with it. I had the best support staff I could ask. Everyone that was around me during that time and still around me here. I couldn't be more thankful. And little did I know that was just yet again another setback that I would have. So that next summer, I went and played in Indiana. Had a good summer there. Came back for my sophomore year, and this was my first year playing like actual college baseball, starting and playing. And it was a hard year for me just to get adjusted. It's a completely different level, but that did not change my passion for the game. There's like one or two big hits that I remember almost every single day, and that's what drives me, knowing that, you know, any of those moments and all those big chances and opportunities that I got put into, and just that thrill of excitement, like when you get the job done, that's a huge thing that runs or drives my passion. Just knowing that moment and you step up and deliver for your team, that's a huge part of why I still stay motivated because that one time will always come around, whether when you stick it out through the thin. Um, I think that's a very, very big reason why I have such a huge passion because I'm always looking for those big moments. Um, so that was sophomore year. Junior year this past season, we had a pretty outstanding run, a couple ways away or a couple wins away from coming back home to Omaha and playing in the CWS, which super devastating that we didn't get there. But I learned a lot that year and truly found my biggest passion for baseball and just building relationships with my teammates. Um, there was nothing like it, nothing like the feeling of winning on the road with a huge crowd, just absolutely amazing feeling. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my passion is driven off. I'm a huge winner. I like to know everyone around me that I'm a huge winner, and just delivering in high pressure situations, like that's my passion. That's what I live for. There's so much like adrenaline that I'm getting just talking about it, but um, that was huge. That's my huge win-win talk for passion. And then just going into this year, I just got hip surgery this past July, and so this fall was another setback, tough setback. It was my first time having surgery. Didn't really know much about surgeries. I knew it was a long and extensive process. Um, so I sat out this entire fall, had rehab every day, 2 hours a day. Then I had to sit through 3, 4 hour practice every single day. And I thought to myself a couple of times, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Getting old, starting to think about the real world, life after college. I'm like, I don't know if I should just stop now and kind of start exploring my options for after college, getting a job and stuff like that. And I think that thought ran through my head about every single day I was at practice, just watching everyone play, smiles on their faces, and I'm over here just sitting down, can't do anything but kind of cheer my teammates on during scrimmages and stuff like that. But once I grabbed that bat again, started to swing, I mean, you just I have all of these memories throughout the years of all the good times and things that baseball has brought to you. And my passion, I just realized my passion's never going to leave me. Um, I wouldn't be at this school. I wouldn't be playing this game if it wasn't for my passion anymore. So I'm glad I stuck it out. I'm good to go now. I'm excited for this upcoming season, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's kind of a long background, but I would say that I've had some very, very big step backs compared to other athletes. Um, but trusting the process, working hard every day, and giving your teammates and the people who are around you the most, even when you can't perform like they are, staying positive and encouraging them to bring the most as well. I think that's another part of passion, and my passion is to just be great and give my teammates the respect and the most that they deserve as well, even though um, I'm kind of in a darker, deeper place than they are. That's kind of where I'm at today.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And in that I love like the story, your story it's one of just bounce back and setback, but continuing to it's that cliche of hey, your greatest setback is just preparing you for your great comeback, right? And so
Yeah,
it's
right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
and it's the idea of trusting the process. It's the
Mhm.
idea, yes, the big moments, the hey, I'm up to bat, two outs, two on. Hey, we're competing to get to Omaha. It's those big moments that you live for and that you're
Mhm.
passionate for. But it's also just the sport in general of like, hey, I get up there, I realize I got a bat in my hand again, and instantly all these things come flooding back into my head of just experiences and past things that I've done in the past. And um so I love it. And I know I had a couple questions for you just on the topic of passion, but one thing that kind of popped into my head, a question when you were like talking about your story is when you were sidelined and you weren't able to have a bat in hand and you kind of just had to show up and support your teammates. How did you keep um, just mentally just continuing to go back, being positive and being an encourager and being a light for your teammates, even when you were in a kind of a dark, hard spot? Like, what was your
Yeah.
motivation to keep
You
going?
know, like I said, it was tough. It took a little bit for me to get used to that. Because with any injury, it's hard to get used to any injury, and I've had a lot of them. But I would say, finding your purpose and helping to lead others. As an older guy now, I've kind of been through it a lot, and so finding ways to encourage the people around you and still bring that same energy every single day, um, even when you're hurt, even when you're not playing. Not only are you going to get respected by your teammates a lot, but you'll be in a better mental space. And so I think that was just a big part for me. Not only not pretending that I'm playing, but just kind of putting myself out there like I would be playing and not taking any days off that way. Because sitting out for that long, if you're kind of just, I don't know, daydreaming that whole entire time, you're going to be facing an even major step back um, from when you get back to playing. So staying true to that mindset, cheering on your teammates, being there to support them, even when you're not playing, it goes a long way to when you come back and are actually playing because like I said, the mental part of the game is huge. And if you stay true to that when you're not playing it, it's gonna set you up for success when you do come back.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And as you were talking there, I think of, okay, you being an older guy now, going into this year, you redshirted, so I think you probably have one more year eligibility
Yeah.
left, right? And so you go, and all these younger kids are coming in, all these younger cats, and
Mhm.
they look at you as an older guy of, hey, somebody who's probably going to be a shoe in the lineup for day in and day out,
Mhm.
getting good reps, showing up every day, giving a good attitude, giving 110%, even when you couldn't play, even when you were sidelined with injury.
Mhm.
Just think of I don't know, the impact, the example that sets for a younger kid to come in.
Right.
And
Right.
even like this guy's battling now, he's putting up numbers now, but his freshman, sophomore, junior year was an absolute grind. It was
Mhm.
just trying to, hey, put on a positive face, a positive attitude, even when you weren't feeling it. And I think that just shows um, great just character and grit to fight through the
Hmm.
tough times. And it shows your teammates too of, hey, I'm gonna lead you strong and I'm gonna lead you well, even when it's not sunshine and rainbows. I'm gonna show
Right.
up every day and I'm gonna be consistent in my approach and the process and love it because I love the sport and I love you guys as a team. So I think that's sweet.
Yeah, I will say like when you play at this high level, you got to have a passion for being there every single day. Some days aren't going to be the best. Some days are going to be really good, but kind of staying like even that whole entire time. You can't have your highs be too high. You can't have your lows be too low. Staying even will help your passion grow, and it'll also help you stay humble and stick to who you are. And that's also been a huge part for me as well.
Yeah, that's money. We talk a lot. We talked a lot about identity here the last couple
Mhm.
months. So I think that's just huge of, hey, you said knowing your values, knowing what you stand for, knowing who
Yeah.
you are. And you kind of hit on passion a lot of just having the passion come back in the midst of adversity and in the midst of tough seasons and what you're going through. And so one of the questions that I kind of asked you beforehand is, hey, what role does passion play in your ability to stay motivated through tough
Hmm.
seasons? So I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but every day is different, right? Every day presents its own challenges. You talk about not getting high, not getting too low. Um, and so I know maybe you want to touch a little bit more on just what
Hmm.
keeps you motivated.
Hmm.
Uh,
Of course. So like I said earlier, ultimately winning is my passion. I love to win in everything I do. And in order to win, I like to set myself up to win with my preparation. I have many different preparation things that I do, not just before a game or something like that. It's every single day, and that's ultimately how I get to winning or right next to winning. Um, I always look to get better with anything that motivates me. So I feel like for me, this might be different for others, but I'm motivated through like doing something that makes me look good or any way that I think that I better myself in that day, that motivates me and that drives me and helps with my passion in baseball. And so like every single day I'll have a preparation before practice. This is when I'm healthy. I'll have a preparation before practice, during practice, after practice, before I go to bed, when I wake up. And that whole preparation leads me into um, kind of staying motivated, even when things aren't going good. Like you could have a really hard day at practice, but if your preparation doesn't change, those margins of error are going to start to like shrink. And so your bad days, sometimes if you're not doing your preparation, those bad days are going to be really bad. But if you do the preparation and stick to your plan every single day, those bad days will start to reduce the amount of bad they're getting. It'll be closer to the neutral zone, and you'll find ways to get better. And when you keep your preparation the same and adjust your preparation in the mindset of a winner. I don't know if that was kind of what you're looking for, but that's kind of how I go about that.
yeah, no, that's good. I think cutting the gap. So I think you have like really good and really bad. And so like how do we close the gap? And I
Mhm.
think what you hit on right there is like consistency. Like
Yeah,
consistency in the preparation, like waking up every day. Hey, I'm gonna fuel myself good with breakfast so I can get out the door and go to class. And then I'm gonna go to class. Then I'm gonna go to lift in. Then after my lift, I'm gonna go study. And then after I study, I'm gonna go to practice. And it's just the consistent things. And I know one thing that we talk about here a lot is, hey, it's the little things that we do today that create lasting change over time. And so to tie that into what you were saying is the gap will just slowly get like closer and closer to where the good and bad, like the bad days will eventually become good days.
right.
So yeah, I thought that's super good.
I think I don't know, you guys might have talked about this already, but I've learned small victories are everything. When those small victories start adding up, they become big victories and very little losses. Those small victories you got to cherish, and it takes a turn when those small victories start to add up.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And you almost need people in your corner to point out the small victories because I know I'm
Mhm.
sure you can. You're a competitive dude. You love to win, and so it's we tend to be our own biggest critic, and
Okay.
we want the big victories, we want the big wins. But like you said, hey, especially in the midst of adversity and going through injury, you need to see the small victories too.
Yep.
So. Another question I had was, how do you maintain your passion when things aren't going well? And I know we kind of hit on that um, one, but it's such a big part of your story and of just continually bouncing back. I think I would maybe even change that. What's the biggest thing you've learned coming like with all the setbacks?
hmm I think the biggest thing I've learned is just the potential that I have. Being set back gives me a lot of time, or having a lot of setbacks gives me a lot of time to think about um, who I can become, the leader I can become on and off the field, and my purpose. And I think that's really important, finding your purpose, especially when you get to these higher levels of sports. Um, Everyone has their own story, but finding your purpose, staying within your mindset, staying within yourself, and not comparing yourself to others. Um, I think that's how I maintain kind of my things, and that motivates me as well. But I think that those little wins also help as well. Um, Counting those little wins every single day when you wake up, knowing that you had one more little win than yesterday, that's going to help me keep moving forward. And I think that's really important. Um, and I do a lot of visualization stuff, and I think that helps me as well. Picturing myself in tough moments so I know what to do when I get there. Um, and kind of and breathe into that, just relaxing my body. I've done a lot of that, and I think that's played a huge role in my success as well. And I think that's been like kind of a common misconception with people when it comes to visualization. They think it's some sort of like kind of trick or magic type thing. It's real, and it's helped me in a lot of ways. And um, yeah, I think that's how I maintain my passion when things aren't going my way.
Yeah, that's huge. I love how you hit on visualization too and breathing because it's like you said, a lot of people have a misconception about it on what it is and what it isn't. But we could probably sit here and do an hour-long talk on visualization. Why it's
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
so I think it's huge just to hear you playing at one of the highest levels of Division One baseball. It's real and it's important and it's crucial in the mental side of everything.
Mhm.
So. How we talked a little bit about this as well, but how do you bring your passion into your role as a teammate? Um, yeah, just talk about being, you're an older guy now, so just being a leader on the team and bringing your all every day.
So at first, when I got to college, I mean, even in high school, I'm pretty shy. I don't talk that much until I get to know you. So it was a little eye-opening for me about how I showed my passion, um, kind of asserting myself into a new world, new groups of people. It was kind of difficult for me at first, but I would encourage encourage everyone out there to step outside of your comfort zones a little bit. And it's not saying that you got to start talking people's ears off, but just show a little bit of energy every now and then. And I think that's kind of how I started to become less shy, especially in the game. But I bring passion before the game even starts or something like that. It's not like a first guy in the weight room, last one out type guy, but I put my best effort in everything I do. And I think my biggest goal with that is to just have other people notice how hard of a worker I am, because that goes a long way. Like I touched on earlier, you get the respect of your teammates, get the respect of your coaches, and you're letting them know that you're not wasting their time. And I also wrote something down over here. Building relationships is also something that I've also kind of had to open up on since I've grew up kind of more of a shy person. Building relationships and stepping out of your comfort zone are, if not, I think the best way to kind of assert yourself as a good teammate, especially when you're getting to college. Got a lot more faces than high school and growing up. you kind of have to put yourself out there in a way, and get to know people. And I think that's one of the ways that I create passion as a teammate. And just earning the respect for others, bringing the same energy every single day, like we talked about, through the highs and lows. And um, I'm not a huge physical energy guy, but I do my best to bring the same energy that I do have every single day, whether that's just practice. I know practices can get very boring at times, but that stuck out to me from a player my freshman year. He didn't play that much, but he brought the same passion every single day, and the same energy every single day. So I noticed that. It stood out to me. I try to do the same and hope others notice that, because I think that guy had a one up on every single other person when he got the chance to play. He performed. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. Just showing up, being the guy every day that brings the energy. I think it shows not only shows guys that you want to be there and that you're not wasting their time, like you said, but it shows them really that you care. Like
Right.
as a team, I think the closest teams are typically the ones that perform the best because when everything's on the line in the biggest moments, you know the other guy's going to pick you up.
Hmm.
If somebody strikes out, hey, that's okay. We know the next guy's going to pick them up. And so
Hmm.
I think just it kind of goes back to being consistent and just showing guys that you care and showing guys that you're going to work hard. Is kind of a lot of what I heard right there. And so, yeah, it's sweet.
Another thing is just like never taking anything for granted. I know people always say it, but it's a blessing to be able to play any sport, honestly, from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. Um, so cherishing those moments and setting yourself up for success in those moments, and not taking that for granted. I think that's another huge way that you can increase um, passion and respect for your team from your teammates as well.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And so as we really wrap up here and gosh, so many like good little nuggets and takeaways from this so far, but as our athletes are watching this and they're maybe thinking like what's maybe one there's so many things that they can take out of here and take out of this video and this talk, but what's one thing or one challenge that you would maybe present to their athletes about finding their passion, sustaining their passion, or really just I mean, as a Division 1 baseball player, hey, what's one word of wisdom that you'd give our athletes as a challenge?
Well, ever since I got to college, I've had a lot of eye-opening experiences that have kind of taught me and led me into thinking a much more mature and different way than I would have ever thought I would. Um, but there's been a lot of crazy moments and games I've been a part of. Um, and I would say almost being thankful in a way, thanking your families for helping you get this far financially and being able to have a shot like this. But if I had one thing to say that would kind of set someone up for success, or to take this like takeaway message, I would just say don't regret what you did down the road 3, 4 years ago. Looking back, don't regret what you did those 3, 4 years ago, and tell your future self, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I did that. Because you will regret it. I have some things I do regret preparation wise, and oh, my friends are doing this tonight. I should probably go lift or hit or throw or something. Do not regret those moments when you know you should be doing something to better off yourself, because someone else is going to catch you from behind and they're going to go right past you. And no one's going to feel sorry for you, especially at this level. Everyone wants you to succeed, but it's up to you if you put in the work, put in the time, physically and mentally, to get better. That's my uh that's my one thing that I've learned, and it's very eye-opening at this level. But putting in the work, if you put in the work, it's not like a threat or anything. It's just like don't regret what you did in the past, because it will come back to bite you at some point. Um, and just sticking to your plan, sticking to your routine. Routines are huge. If you don't have one, not even consider. I would recommend that you create yourself a routine. It's also satisfying when you get in a routine as well. But that was my those are my two biggest takeaways from getting to college, creating a routine that is very flowing in a way for yourself, and don't make yourself regret anything for what's to come in the future.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And two, I think super tangible and really easy things that we can take and implement. Like you think of routine, it's hey, I'm gonna go to bed at a decent time. I'm gonna put my phone up, and then I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna eat breakfast. I'm gonna fuel myself with eggs and toast. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get off school. I'm gonna go to practice. I'm gonna do my homework. Same thing, right? Routine, super
Right.
easy. It doesn't have to be this huge thought out rocket science plan. But it's the little things, right? I
Mhm.
think if we're, and you can probably attest to this, but if you're just consistent in the routine, consistent in the approach, you're probably going to be consistent when you step up to the plate. You're going to be consistent when you step out onto the field. You're going to be consistent when you're asked to be in different leadership roles as a teammate. It's
Mhm.
just everything kind of flows, and I think that's where you talk about too of hey, if you set up a routine and you follow it, you're consistent, and if you're consistent, you're probably not gonna regret some of the times that you skipped out on practices or workouts or different reps or cut corners. Because if you're consistent in the things, you're probably not going to do that. You're probably not going to cut corners. And so, yeah, I think that's super great advice, great wisdom. One of the one of the coolest things, like it's I'm glad we're talking about passion just from Kyan's standpoint and hearing his story from setback after setback to really launching this great comeback and excited to watch him play this year. But I look back on this past season and the run that K-State made, and there's one picture. I think if you Google his name, it's him stomping on home plate, like face is like screaming, teammates around him, crowd's going crazy, and he is stomping on home plate like he owns it. Because I think he just blasted a 2, 3 run home run. Maybe it was a solo shot, I don't know, but it was over a monster wall, and passion is just written all over his face. And so, what people didn't know probably was the backstory, the adversity, the wall, the hurdles that he had to go through to get back to that point. It wasn't easy. It was a grind, but every single day, every single moment, every single just leap that he had to go through, leaps and bounds to get back to where he was, it was all worth it. And the passion showed in that moment. And so it was awesome to get to have you on and just hear more and get to tell the athletes more about you and your story, your background. You got any last things you want to say?
Oh, just thanks for having me on. And yeah, those moments are what brings it back every time. That was passion building up for a long time, and I'm glad I could let that one go. But yeah, thanks for having me on. If there's any questions or anything like that, I'd be more than happy to um, go deeper, answer those questions. But yeah, this was fun talking about this stuff.
Yeah, man, it was great. All right, 12-2 Nation. Be great.